Hello friends, my internet people, my Bitcoin people. This idea that I'm going to share with you today is meant as an inspiration to build better tools for a future, a better future. And if you like these videos, please donate some Bitcoin when you're done watching to keep this show growing. Alright, so I want to talk about how Bitcoin and the blockchain can save the honest man and provide a better future for us all. To do this, I first need to talk about money. Money, 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 money. So let's go back in time to the old days where kings and warlords financed their wars with stolen gold. Back then, paying soldiers and purchasing weapons was all done in gold. So these kings and warlords were limited by their supply of gold, which meant when they ran out of gold, they could no longer fight. Back then, when gold was a storage of value and used as a currency, wars were short, as these greedy warmongering fools would simply run out of money and would have to pack their shit together and stop fighting and, more importantly, admit their defeat. But because we kept accepting gold as a currency and storage of value, we were also under a constant threat as the powers that be always kept stealing each other's gold. And sadly, these kings and warlords ended up mastering the art of thievery and also managed to corrupt and infiltrate our spiritual leaders, who quickly went in colludance with these evil tyrants of war, producing an army of fake priests and religious leaders, claiming that somehow a soldier has God on his side when he went out stealing and killing his fellow man just to enrich these greedy kings and warlords. This is something us humans have done again and again throughout history, helping these evil tyrants gain more and more power. So much power that these families of warlords and thieves today have camouflaged themselves as respectful families with institutions that currently hold the world in a power grip with a strength that man has never seen before. They have mastered their deception and made this thievery into an art form, developed over thousands of years to control and manipulate us. And today they can do just that by more easily than ever, because they control the flow of money, which they now can create out of thin air, which literally gives them unlimited power compared to when society was on the gold standard, which was limited by supply. They can now do whatever they want. No need to ask for your permission or funds from volunteers willing to pay. They simply print their own money. And while doing so, they're also devaluing the money in our pockets that most of us has worked so hard for. So today, we live in a society where they have successfully brainwashed the majority of us through the invention of democracy. But people, please understand that real democracy only works within tiny communities and only regarding the questions discussed and the specific subjects put up to vote. But instead, modern day governments use democracy to make it appear as responsibility is distributed and our leaders are enforcing the will of the people. And they have created an army of single moms, immigrants, unemployed men, government employees, and private companies that work on government contracts. And these failed gene pools of losers are only motivated to wait for government's free handouts or directions on what to do, instead of leaving them to create real value that is funded by volunteers. They fund this army of losers with stolen fiat money they create out of thin air to help the powers that be to stay in power. And you must understand, most of these money created out of thin air are not given to the people at all, but instead used to finance war and killing innocent people through various types of law enforcement, solely with the purpose to steal more, constantly raping humanity of all honor and faith, with one purpose only: to enrich themselves. And now, with this current modern day democracy, sadly, these old families of kings and warlords can run the global elites institutes without ever showing face or taking responsibility for anything, as we are brainwashed into believing any mistakes are our own responsibility, and that we can change things through democracy. Democracy, which only offers us fake leaders always ready to suck a banker's cock or accommodate these old families that really are nothing more than warlords. But we are onto these evil people now. And more are slowly waking up to the facts every day. And they know it. They know they are no longer looked at as saviors or heroes anymore. And thus they will look to start wars by again accusing people left and right, while building armies of losers ready to kill for money, until the war is at its knees again. At which point they will come to the rescue as saviors, heroes, and providers of right solutions. Solutions they have stolen with fiat money and the power of the military-industrial complex, who's really a global mafia and a threat to humanity. So please, people, let's not give them the power to do this. Let's once and for all get rid of these people that do not create any real value, but simply brainwash the masses to enforce and distribute evil upon the honest man. They are the accusers without dialogue or real solutions. They are our real enemies. And they can easily be stopped if we stop allowing them to create money out of thin air. And to do this, we simply need to put our faith in Bitcoin and the blockchain and refuse to participate in anything involving fiat money or gold. And bingo, they have no way to finance their war anymore. Today, we see everything is boiling up and getting ready for this reset. And sadly, maybe soon we'll bring our beautiful world into a state of war, exactly as we've seen it happen so many times in history before. However, this time, will we allow the powers that be to simply shapeshift as they have done so many times before, by allowing them to appear as saviors, to rebuild the chaos they themselves have created, and appear to us as heroes with their fake fiat money or stolen gold, which we have allowed to exist and sadly worship? Remember, they do this every time they are not popular. They simply shapeshift into heroes and providers of justice and stability, again through fake wars financed with stolen fiat money. They've created an illusion, a fake reality for brainwashing us into believing that humanity has different sides, be it red, blue, east, west, and the list goes on, giving the impression that we somehow can defeat evil altogether. And we have another enemy than them, when they, in reality, they are the evil ones deceiving us through the illusion of democracy or other fake power structures elected by losers and beggars, because this elite understands that man is born weak and open for temptation. So with the promise of free stuff and empowerment, the weak and failed gene pools can continue to steal and rape humanity as they have always done. But now we're democracy, we're under the illusion that they have support of the people. The only support they have are from people who are dependent on handouts or working on government contracts, financed by non-volunteer payments in form of fake fiat money created out of thin air. This is their nearly bulletproof genius plan that gives them full control over us. But luckily, some of us are waking up to the facts. And if we act quickly, we can stop these warmongering fools once and for all. If we move our money into Bitcoin and take away their power to print money, and they will quickly be gone from this world once and for all. So let's do this, people. Reject their fiat money and stop financing warmongering fools and thieves. Their biggest delusion is that we can eliminate evil from this world. An illusion that really is the devil's work, as evil wants nothing more than to be invisible. This idea that we can remove evil from the world is a socialistic or so-called democratic idea that now lets governments and institutes enforce law exhausting the honest man by forcing him to support a sick gene pool at gunpoint. Let me just explain what evil is and how it should appear in your life if the world was an honest place. I believe evil is the consequence of bad choices, and this consequence is important for humanity to survive. Currently, we allow enforcers of law and military to distribute evil, evil which is really the bad choices of the weak, but to distribute this upon the honest man as if bad choices, mistakes, or accident by the unlucky souls should be enforced as a fine upon the strong and prosperous, instead of showing the reality of these bad choices, which I'm afraid is darkness, bad times, or evil, as evil should appear in your life if you make a bad choice, and hopefully motivate you to do something good, instead of giving you access to stolen money. I believe a good deed or helping the weak is only honorable if it's done voluntarily and not financed with fiat stolen money as it is today. On that note, let me please remind you people, if you fail at doing something you love, it's just an opportunity to try again. Never give up creating value that you see best for your family or humanity. It's never too late to push away evil. Don't give in to this failed system that I believe is killing off the best and most honorable men we have on this planet, as they are the only creators of value and thus paying the real price. Therefore, I believe that voting and democracy has failed big time, as it really removes the responsibility and consequence of bad choices from the individual. And I'm not going to participate in these charades anymore. Think about it. If 51% of people want to steal or kill the 49% of people, does that make it okay? Think about it. People, please understand, if we use blockchain technology to handle all our trust issues in society, we no longer need these centralized institutes to tell us what to believe. So we need to use the technology to keep our books open in regards to the availability of resources and the funds needed to preserve our planet, while we register and monitor the will of the people on this open ledger. And never trust these warmongering thieves again with their centralized institutes. This would give us an opportunity to see what is really available and how it's being distributed and by who. In a society documented on the blockchain, liars and thieves can no longer participate. And citizens can freely choose not to support companies that make a 5,000% profit on sales by raping nature and underpaying fellow humans, as this kind of business practice can no longer be hidden if books are open on the blockchain. And any participation in this evil would be well documented on this ledger. Then who would participate in evil if it was open for all to see? But for this to happen, we must demand it first by boycotting any currency or storage of value that is not documented on the blockchain. I realize that many do not understand or agree with what I'm talking about, and they still advocate that we vote and work together on rebuilding the damages done by these nations of war. But this is really my point. If we do this so-called rebuilding on stolen fiat money, we're really just starting it all over again, letting these same old evil families and warlords step in as the saviors and heroes once again. Rebuilding is fine, but it must be done voluntarily and with real money that cannot be copied, spent twice, and like Bitcoin, have a fixed number available without anyone being able to print more out of thin air. And your only access to money would be through good deeds and honest work that people voluntarily choose to pay for. And this might be hard for society to handle, as the majority are losers currently in some way or form dependent on this failed system. So we must be strong to make this a reality. But trust me, we creative working men and women are the only creators of value. We who do not need to rely on stolen fiat money, as we have something of real value. So I have made a personal choice to leave this idea of democracy behind and I will now advocate the idea of an anarchistic society, using decentralized trust as a mechanism to solve the problem of liars and thieves. This is something we have never tried before, and it has only now become possible with the use of Bitcoin and the blockchain technology. That's it for now, people. Subscribe for more videos in your inbox and share this video across your social networks. And please, please donate some Bitcoin if you like this video. If I could just raise $30 a day, I'd be able to do this full time and really raise hell for these warmongering fools. Ha!